Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Advisors webinar night, Surviving the Pandemic Together. Tonight, we're going to speak about bid management with Ahmed Khraizat. Ahmed, can you kindly turn on your cam and audio, please? Good evening, Ahmed. How are you? Wa alaikum salam.
Good evening, Dr. Saadi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. You are joining us from Riyadh tonight.
Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, true.
Okay, you are welcome. Now, Ahmed, to tell you a little bit about Ahmed. I've known him for some years now, and for many years, actually.
We met 10 years.
Yeah, we met when you were working at the Advanced Electronic Corporation, and he was in the domain of business development and bidding. And I had an engagement in terms of governance and program management. And I found that he has something really interesting way he actually focuses on governing the business development life cycle and process. And he collaborated a lot with Shipley before we had our mutual friend. Remember him, Ahmed?
Tony Breach.
Yes, okay. Tony, who spoke to us about proposal management. Ahmed took this as a career and he developed it for several organizations until the place where he is here today. He is a senior person in terms of bidding, business development cycle, how to instill the science and the process and the governance, and also the KPIs and the impact on it. Until he was like sort of infected positively by his love to knowledge, and he decided to join my university schema to continue his doctorate research about the topic, a topic dear to me because I did a research on the relationship between business development and project management. And then Ahmed, he has even much more than what I had. Perhaps my contribution came from the world of project management, and his contribution comes from the world of business development. So I wish you, and I expect very soon, inshallah, you finish your dissertation, and you'll finish it with honors. Now, having said that, inshallah, Ahmed, you have some certifications that maybe not every one of us is aware about. Let me take us upstairs. So you have an APMP-CF. What is APMP-CF?
This is a certified foundation of Association of Proposal Management Professional. And this is, I think, the only certificate that exists on the domain of bid management, to be frank. It has three levels. I'm certified on the foundation and didn't have the chance to continue the track, but definitely I'll go back to that. Okay.
So this is the only certification for that world. Okay.
Up to my knowledge, yes.
What is the ACP?
This is the Agile Certification. It's Agile Certification Professional.
You should put PMI-ACP. Okay.
Sure. Next time.
Okay. PMP. And what is CCMP?
This is Commercial and Contract Management Professional. This is dedicated or focuses on contract management. And there is one that we didn't put over here, which is the CCAM. And this was one of the first certificates that I got, which is Certified Knowledge Management Professional. So if you look at all of these together and gather them, you will become a bid manager.
Excellent. So this is the conclusion of tonight's webinar.
So we are starting end of mind.
Okay. Excellent. Welcome again, Ahmed, and the floor is yours.
Shukran. Thank you so much, Dr. Saadi. I'm very, very honored to be with you in this Wednesday evening. To start up with, I'd like to thank advisors for giving me this opportunity. I'd like to thank everyone who have registered and attended the webinar. I promise that it will be exciting with your contribution and with your participation, because we will have a lot of polls that will make it a little bit interactive. I hope that we can do it face-to-face, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we're getting use of it. I will start with this slide. Enough talking about me. I'll start with this slide where I have placed a picture that really represents any bid manager in the world. So if you can see, a bid manager, in order to succeed, he needs to have 4 hands. He needs to have multiple skills, thinking about business risks, planning, writing, being on time, and this is very important, in order to succeed in bid management life. So there is a special kind of skills that is needed in order to be on that domain, as well as there is definitely a process that needs to be followed in order to succeed on such area. So what we are trying to do in this webinar, we are trying to link bid management to project management. And this is, as Dr. Saadi said, this is the main, I would say, area where I'm focusing on my dissertation during my doctorate. Why is that interesting? Today, most of the activities or most of the organization, they are starting their activities as projects. And I'm talking here specifically on project-based organization, which are BPOs. We will refer them during the webinar as BPOs. So those BPOs, they have made projects as part of their main activities. And this is what drives for them sustainability, growth, and also profitability. And bidding is becoming more of important aspect for all projects, even in the government sector as well as on the private sector. And to be more detailed, most of the projects nowadays, they start with a bidding life cycle. So we need to connect all of these together through the webinar. I always start with this quote when I transfer knowledge, when I talk to my colleagues and even teams that I have worked with. Most of who have attended those sessions with me would remember that we try always to learn something about everything and everything about something. So if you have all the capabilities related, or you have gained all the knowledge related to a certain domain, it will not harm you to get something about a different domains. Why? Because this will shape your mindset, it will shape the knowledge that you have, and it will put you in a better position when you are discussing multiple aspects with other functions. I will start with a poll. As I said, we hope that it will be interactive. The first 2 polls are purely you. So you have listened a lot about me. You know Dr. Adra as well, but I want to know you. So the first poll would be, I don't want to know your names. I want to know where you come, what's your background. So what's the function that you are working on these days? So what's the best function that represents you? Is it project management, sales, bid management, pre-sales, strategy, executive management, or anything else? So Dr. Adra, if we can start the poll, and let's make it fast, please.
Yes, Ahmed, the poll is on.
Yes.
And they are still filling. Maybe give them 10 more seconds.
Interesting. As expected. So half of the audience are from project program management, 10% from bid management, and wow, unexpected, 12% from strategy, setting, or implementation, and another 10% from executive management. Good. Another poll, and it will be also very fast. What's the industry that you are working on? So please, if you can participate. And we are in. Okay. So diversity, ICT and construction, forming like almost 50%. Thank you so much for this valuable information for me. It will help me a lot when I'm discussing some of the examples that I will illustrate some of the ideas during the presentation. Okay, so let's set up the mindset. So we said it is important. Why? Because today, most of the projects will start with invitation to tender, or will start by responding to RFPs that are published from the ICT companies who are willing to apply, or they are willing to acquire a certain project, right? And this put a big I would say, responsibility on the bid management activities in order to show the competitive advantages of those companies in order not only to win the project, but also to execute them in a very good manner. Today, there is a research that's going in order to understand the relation between bid management activities and project management initiation phase within the PPO. So this is the dimensions that we are working on. So about the webinar is structured in the following manner. So we'll start by exploring the common steps and the pre-award phase, and then we will enter into the bid management orbit to know more details about the process, how it is executed, what are the common steps, and what are the different activities that a bid manager will operate in. And then we will link all what we have discussed to the relation between bid management and project management. So let's start with the pre-award phase. Based on the literature, I'll do some theoretical, some academical, and some practical slides. So because those come from the background that I am in, from both the business side and from the educational side. So this is taken from a pure academic perspective that any opportunity life cycle would go into 4 main steps: conceptualization, defining or definition of the problem and the solution, executing, and then operating. The upper line represent the buyer side, and the lower line represent the seller side. So in conceptualization, the buyer is evaluating different options in order to resolve his pain, and the seller is engaged in order to help the customer in that aspect. If to move to the next step, customer evaluates the options and the seller qualify the opportunities. If that has been successful, then we go into the definition where we define the requirements from the customer side, and that is presented from the seller side by a proposal. And if that gate has been successfully passed, then the customer award the project to the selected seller, and the selected seller would hand over whatever he has proposed to the execution team, and execution starts where they design, deliver, and go into a project management, pure project management activities. Once the project is done, then the customer accepts the deliverables and the seller considers the project as a closure, and then it enters into the operational mode. What we will focus on is the first 2 blocks, which is what we call the pre-award. What happens before the customer provides a PO and award to his selected supplier. Another poll. So, in your opinion, what's the percentage of purchasing decision that the customer has reached during that phase, during the pre-award phase? What do you where do you think, even before he published the RFP, while he's doing researches, ranking options, and setting up the requirements, where do you think he stands? If you attended Tony Breach, then you can answer this easily. You were almost there, so I think the numbers have stabilized. The right answer is almost 60%. So the customer has reached to a decision to award a specific project to a specific seller at a level of 60% even before he published the RFP. And we will discuss this in details. I have brought 4 references to this. The first one is based on Gartner, and they have published a good article called The Challenger Sale. And on that, if I can move to the left side of the screen, it shows that customers have already taken, they are on their way of 57% of decision on their way down to the purchase before they even consider engaging the potential sellers. And this publication is actually based on Harvard publication that was published in 2012. The Gartner publication is in 2019. Harvard publication was in 2012. And this was based on a survey that they have done with almost 1,400 B2B customers. And they found out that 60% of the decisions are, the customer is about 60% of his decision before he engaged the seller. And they have provided insights about how the selling life cycle needs to move from a normal solution selling to an insight selling, and those have been described in details. What I can take away from this publication is their recommended strategy. So they have provided 3 strategies that companies need to focus on. First, to avoid the trap of established demand. What does that mean? Don't go to customers that they know already what their pains, they know already their demand. Try to help the customer to uncover the demands that they don't know about, because if they know it, then somebody else have done it for them. Second, you need to target mobilizers, not advocates. Normally, we try to engage with people who loves us, who have relations with us, who can defend us if we are not there on the customer side. I used to be an account manager, I used to be a project manager, and I used to be a bid manager. So I know all of these different relations with the customer. However, according to Harvard, we need to tackle those mobilizers, and mobilizers normally are risk takers. Those are the people who doesn't want to stay where they are. They look forward to grow. They look forward to new ways of doing business and doing certain activities within the company. However, they don't know how, or they have a certain opinion about it, but they need someone to help them. And here where it comes to the last stage, where we need to coach customer how to buy. Coaching them doesn't mean giving them certain webinars or even lectures about how to procure. Actually understanding what the customer life cycle, purchasing life cycle in. So your mobilizer is a VP or is a general manager. He doesn't know much about how he needs to take this forward. So by knowing exactly what's happening inside his organization, you will tell him, now you need to raise the demand. Now you need to secure the budget. Now you are helping him in order to secure your project. If you follow such a strategy, I think you are the black horse for him, and you will be one of the 60% decision that he have already made before even publishing the RFP. A third reference for that, and this is very interesting. This is what Shipley have defined as the business opportunity lifecycle, and it is divided into 6 phases: from business issue to develop the budget and express the solution, and then seeking tender, building the solution, and negotiate and contract, and then they will award that proposal. So this is defined, or this is we can look at it from also both sides. So the first 3 steps is when the customer is recognizing his pain and solution, and then when he enters into to procure. From the seller perspective, what is the business development life cycle look like and the engagement and the bidding phase. Let's pinpoint some very important aspects on this slide. So when does the customer release the RFP? It's here, right? After he developed his solution, he have made his homework, now he seeks tenders. And when does he award? He awards here, because this is what we call it final buying decision, after he evaluates all the, I would say, responses that he would receive. But actually, when does he take his first buying decision? Actually, he takes it here, before even releasing the RFP. So now he knows a clue about who is supposed to win this opportunity and who he leaned to in order, because he have helped him here in this phase. So for you, in order to succeed on being one of those first buying decision factors, you need to engage here. Normally, most of the companies wait until the RFP is released and then they engage, and they want to win. So the winning chance is minimal. Last but not least, this is the last, I would say, reference that I will present when it comes to the 60%. Strategic proposals have, in 2020, actually, they have published very interesting publication about procurement versus capture. And we can present capture here as bid management. It has multiple details. I will not go into details of that, but you can see the steps that the procurement life cycle goes through. This is from customer perspective, and the seller life cycle that goes through. And again, the publication is referring to almost 57% of the buying decision happening at this stage. So all of us, what does that tell us? It tells us that we need to engage as early as possible with the customer in order to secure our winning chances to win. Now, this poll, I find it a little bit fun, so to take you from the stress or maybe the focus that you are in. To what level does your organization implement the below philosophy? Bid everything that moves. I want to see exciting results. This is not exciting. Okay. I think we can stop it, Doctor. Almost 80%, they are even always bidding everything that moves or sometimes bidding everything that moves. And that impacts the business opportunity life cycle. So there is also an exciting article that has been written by David Streaman, who said, maybe the two most important words in your growth strategy is to say no bid, right? So there is a familiar pipeline management philosophy said that we need to bid everything that moves. But if we think about the success rate, the win rate, and the capture rate, all of these are KPIs that we can measure our successful or our success on the domain of bidding. Also, the efficiency, workload, and quality of work that comes from our bid management. Also, if we care about our key resources, time, energy, and cost and motivation, I think we need to change that strategy of bidding everything that moves. And in order, and also change the mindset of if we bid more, then this means we will win more, and that means we will grow more. Actually, if we bid more, I think we will win less, and I will leave it for you to decide about the growth. What's the solution for that? We need to qualify. And how to qualify? This is the entrance for us to go into the bid management orbit. So let's go to the bid management orbit. Some statistics to start with. Again, this is from Strategic Proposal. By the way, this is published online. So an interesting study that has been done by Strategic Proposal over a period of 10 years, right? They have published, or they have asked their customers the same, almost the same questions in 2007 and 2018. Right? One of the questions that they have asked, proposals, the written proposals is the most important factor in our evaluation process. This is from customer perspective. In 2007, 54% accepted or said yes. And in 2018, this percentage increased to 78%. And another dimension where they said, we read every proposal thoroughly from cover to cover. At that time, in 2007, only 62% said yes. Now, 74%. This shows you that the proposals, the bid management, the bidding life cycle is becoming more important from customer perspective than how it was 10 years back. Another dimension, the supplier who submits the best written proposal wins the deal. In 2007, 3 disagreed to this statement. 3 out of 4 disagreed, and almost 75% of the participants of that survey disagreed. In 2018, 3 agreed to that. So this shows you that the shift on the mindset from the buyer perspective along the years about how they look into the proposals, how they look into the bid management lifecycle, how important is the bid management lifecycle. For you to win, you need to understand what the customer wants, and this is what the customer is looking after. This is what the customer is evaluating you against. So you need to energize yourself, and you need to equip yourself with the right tools, and one of those tools is bid management. You need to understand the game. Bid management, from theoretical perspective, is a game. The game theory operates on assumption that BPOs on the ICT sector are gamblers. So they are kind of trying to gamble to win whatever proposals or games that they are into. To summarize the game theory in very short manner, it has three main elements, I would say. You play a game on a strategic mode or extensive mode. You have perfect information or imperfect information. You have a finite game. It's defined, finite time horizon or infinite time horizon. For bid management in specific, strategic versus extensive, this is the one that I will just elaborate on more. Strategic, this means that you have taken your decision of bidding or of playing the game only once at the beginning of the game. Extensive means that you have the chance to change your proposition or position within the game depending on the maturity of information that you are getting to and depending on the situation, right? So in bid management in specific, you are always on extensive mode. Why? Because you change your behavior every time you bid for a certain bid. Otherwise, everybody would know your strategy and they will know what's your price, what's your competitive advantages, and so on, right? Perfect versus imperfect. Normally, we enter into the bid with imperfect information unless we are already engaged with the customer ahead, and this would differentiate one seller from the other. And finite versus infinite, definitely in bid management we are infinite, not infinite. So we are in a finite mode. Why? Because we know the boundaries of our game, right? Which is the submission date for sure. So you can play the game without knowing the rules, but you will never win. From academic perspective, I brought all of these definitions for us just to understand what's the difference between bid management, what's the difference between bid, tender, proposals, and whatever. But what I will focus on is the one that's written on the bottom of the slide, where Harold Lewis has defined the bid or the proposal or the tender as a formal written offer to undertake work or provide services for a stated price. This is for me a very comprehensive definition of bid, right? Where it needs to be formal, it needs to be written, so verbal it will not be accepted. The aim of that is to undertake a work on behalf of the customer or on behalf of another individual, and it has a specific price. So all of these are defining what we call bidding, tendering, or even proposals to the customer. I will leave the rest for future references for you. So I may not go through everything on the slide due to the time limitation first, and we need to focus on a certain aspects to deliver the right knowledge to you. So in order to understand bidding lifecycle, we need to understand the types of engagements and the type of requests that we are expecting from the customer. So what I have selected 4 types actually to focus on in this webinar. So either it's an open tender where everyone is invited, there is no limitation of the invitees. Either it's a restricted tender, so there is a certain aspects that the seller or the seller needs to qualify to in order to be able to participate on that tender. One of them is classification, let's say, or one of them is a certain financial position. 2-stage tender, this is normally related to huge mega projects, right? Mega projects that the customer will engage potential suppliers into the design phase, then into the budgeting phase, and then into kind of solution development phase and defining the requirements. Then those are shortlisted, and the only finalists will be invited to submit their final offers to the customer in order to be selected off. And this normally happens in specific environments with specific customers with a specific nature of projects. Single source is another type of engagements that the customer will buy from only a single source. So there is a certain circumstances on the procurement life cycle that needs to be to be taken into consideration if the customer wants to go with a single source. Moving to the types of requests, I have selected the 3 main requests because those are the most common one, right? So either the customer wants to send you an RFI, it's a little bit unreadable, but anyway, you will receive it if you request for the presentation as a PDF, definitely. So here, the customer has an idea about what he wants, but he still wants to qualify. He wants to get more information about the potential suppliers. And this could lead the customer to release an RFP or an RFQ. RFQ, the customer knows what he wants. So he already have defined the components of the solution that he wants, and he just wants you to price it and tell him how you're going to deliver it for him. Well, in the RFP or ITT, RFP is request for proposals, ITT is invitation to tender. And this is the most commonly used on the bid management horizon. When the RFP and the ITT, the supplier still, he doesn't know how to solve his problem. He have uncovered a certain problem that he has, but he needs to know more about how to solve it. And it's open for the invitees or for the participants on that RFP to propose whatever solution that may raise the interest of the supplier, of the customer, sorry, in order to be obtained. So mainly you may receive RFPs or even RFIs, but you will not receive RFQs much, depend on your industry that you're working on. A reference to what we call APMP, body of knowledge. Body of knowledge has defined the bid management, or I have defined the bid management as part of the body of knowledge in the business development lifecycle. So if you looked at that, you can see that bid management is really part of the business development lifecycle within APMP, body of knowledge, where it starts by the opportunity assessment or qualification and ends by proposal submission, and furthermore ends by negotiating and getting the award from the customer. This is one of the first slides that I have developed in my life. This is why I always keep it in my speeches or in my webinars. This is the first webinar I'm doing, actually, in my lectures that I'm doing face-to-face. So 5 P's of success in life are proper planning prevents poor performance. And if we want to implement this on bid management, I would say proper planning prevents poor proposals, right? So it will be 5 P's of successful bidding. Bid management, in few words, if we want to define it, it is the process. It is the process that documents the practice related to bids from the moment that the opportunity is identified by sales team until the proposal is successfully handed over to the project. So it's the opportunity life cycle from the bid management perspective. My definition and what's written on blue is purely mine, so there is no reference here. It is the art. For me, bid management is more of an art. It's not science. It's not purely science. It is a science that needs a special skills. So it's an art of integrating organizations, processes, and here where Dr. Saadi has mentioned governance and team collaboration in order to produce a winning proposal. If you don't have that skills of art, you can produce proposals, right? But you cannot produce winning proposals. And what we want to achieve out of the bid management lifecycle is winning proposals. Some of the responsibilities that the bid manager will take into while he is doing his activities, a lot. I will just focus on qualifying the opportunities, planning the activities, assessing the risks, and this is very important. The bid manager is the mediator between the sales life cycle and the project management life cycle, right? So you are there a translator. You are there to understand the business side of the opportunity, but at the same time take into consideration the deliverables, the delivery risks that may appear while you are developing your project to the customer. So you need to assess, you need to address, but you need to balance those risks between the two different. If you leave a sales guy with a project manager in one room, I don't think who will come out of that room. because everyone has his own view about the project. That guy will try to minimize the risk as much as possible. This is the sales guy. I used to be the sales guy. And the project management guy or the project manager will try to put all risk in the world on that specific proposal or on that specific project. This is why the bid manager will come and balance the views between both of them. What are the skills that are needed? Definitely, he needs to be a subject matter expert on the domain mainly. He needs to have some business knowledge. He needs to have excellent writing and communication skills. He needs to be a leader. All of these means you need to be a leader. You need to lead that opportunity, because you know why? The bid manager at that specific moment, he is the CEO of the opportunity. He knows whom to participate. What's the strategy of bidding? What's the strategy of pricing? Who needs to write what? What are our competitive advantages? What are the hot buttons of the customer? He have a lot of aspects or a lot of activities that he needs to engage all together in order to come up with a winning proposal. So in my opinion, he is the CEO of the opportunity, governed by the process that the company has set up for him. Talking about bid management and the importance of bid management and the importance of the bid manager, in your opinion, which of the following function or department is the most important function within the organization that will lead to success? Don't follow me, follow yourself. Nice. There is a competition between two functions. It's stabilized, Doctor. Okay, 44% from project management, and we have 50% of the audience are from project management, so this is expected. We have 10% of the audience in bid management field, and almost 30% are saying bid management. To be frank, if I were you, I wouldn't participate in this poll, because what Steve Jobs has told us, great things in business are never done by one person. So there is no one function that's more important than the other in order to lead for a successful organization. We need to work hand on hand as one team: sales, pre-sales, bid management, project management, legal, finance, even executive management. We need to work all together in order to succeed and in order to have an organization success.
يعني هذا السؤال مقلب.
It was a tricky question. I would prefer that you didn't answer. Anyway, it's adding some flavor to the discussion. Okay, what I will take away from this is, again, the definition of the bid management, why do we need it, and how we will implement it. The process of bid management, and this is the entrance for us for the bid management orbit. The process of bid management is divided into 5 consecutive steps, or I would say, steps, and they are followed by 2 situational steps. Let's go into there. This is the orbit of bid management. In brief, anything in bid management starts by the client, and the account manager is our interface with the client. So he is supposed account manager or the business development manager who is on the sales, right, on the sales aspect. He is interfacing with the customer, and he bring those opportunities to the company in order to participate in. After it is qualified, I don't have the cursor in order to take you through it. After it is qualified, the opportunity is moving to the bid management department or function in order to execute the proposal development life cycle. Okay, I'm good, Doctor. Thank you. And that would need engaging more than one function, internally, externally, partners, vendors, SMEs, technical teams, solution architects, and at the end, you will come up with a proposal that will be submitted again to the customer, and if that was evaluated in the right manner, then it's handed over and turned to become a project. So what are the steps that we are following here? The first one, qualify. The second one, engage and kick off. The third, build the proposal. And in parallel or in sequence, it depends on the situation, you go into pricing and finally sign off. Then you submit to the customer. If the customer called you for negotiation, you will go for a negotiation, and then you hand it over. So those are the 7 main functions that any bid management process will go through. Let's take them one by one. We started with qualification, but there is a say that says you have a better chance of winning the lottery than winning an opportunity that comes in cold. What does that mean? What does it mean that the opportunity comes in cold? It means that the customer is not aware about you, and you are not aware about the customer. And when does that happen? When you respond to RFPs that you don't know about. You just respond to an RFP based on its title, right? In that manner, consider this, you have more chance to win the lottery rather than winning that specific opportunity. So what should you do? You need to qualify. You need to engage early, right? So in order to qualify, is it that much hard to qualify? It could be simple. You may ask yourself 3 basic questions. Is it a real opportunity? Can we do it? Can we win it? Type. If you want to go further, you can go further on the qualification. Ask more questions about competitors, about profitability, not only winning it and making money out of it, about teaming up with others. Do I need somebody to team up with? Do I need to partner with someone? Do I have the right partnership inside the company in order to participate in such opportunity? If you want to go further, you can go to a very sophisticated decision-making framework. This has been developed by Shipley about bid no bid. But at the end, you need to have your qualification methodology available in the company. This will help you to reduce the pressure on your team, as well as it will help you to increase your success rate and win rate, and this will help you to grow. So bid more, win more, grow more is not applicable anymore. You need to bid less, win more, and inshallah you will grow more.
One thing, Ahmed, about the previous one, please. Okay, I noticed the Shipley flow chart. How many no bids? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, abort 7, probable loss 7.5, negative, and only 1 positive. So is this the percentage of the bids you do not go for, or what?
Mainly, according to Shipley, saying no is a norm, and saying go or bid is something rare. But this participate much, doctor, on the winning rate. This is why when Shipley engage with any organization, or when you implement a real bid management process within your company, your success rate would be on the edge of, I don't know, 70, 80, 90% compared to your success rate now. And the main reason behind that, if you implement a decent, I will not recommend that you always go with this approach, but it depends on the how applicable you are implementing a qualification process. If you implement a decent qualification process, I think a lot of things will change within the opportunity life cycle, and you still can achieve your targets and can sustain the growth within the company. The next one is engage and kickoff. This is the most recommended items in any kickoff meeting that a bid manager will go for, but I will concentrate on the tips that will give you the feature or the flavor of the kickoff. So you need to allocate a certain time for kicking off any opportunity, and this is, according to Shipley again, this is considered as 15%. So if you have like 10 days to submit, consider almost 1.5 days to prepare for the kickoff and doing the kickoff. If you have 1 month, consider almost 4 days to prepare for the kickoff. Why? Because kicking off the opportunity with the right attributes, with the right, I would say, engagement model will help you much when you are developing the proposal or when we are following the other steps. If you're just cook it up and you just go into the kickoff and say, well, this is the RFP that we have, and go and propose or prepare the proposal for it, I don't think you will develop a winning proposal. I'm always focusing on the word winning proposal, because anyone in the world can develop a proposal. Let's take it for granted. I can develop a proposal right now for aspects for an opportunity that I don't know about. However, if you want to develop a winning proposal, there is a certain steps that you need to follow in order to reach that. Plan for the kickoff. Don't go there free-handed, right? Without any preparation. Invite the right people. So don't invite a subject matter expert on infrastructure while you are doing an application development proposal. It doesn't make any sense for you, right? Have an agenda. Prepare for the package, as we have said. Follow the guidelines, either the internal guidelines or the customer guidelines. So here you will have customer guidelines on the RFP. You need to understand it very well in order to convey the message, to transfer the knowledge to the team who will work with you. And you need to understand your internal guidelines, how to engage and win, right? And lastly but not least, you need to be the leader of that opportunity and you need to show that on the kickoff meeting. I always tell the team that works with me previously on the bid management, if you enter that room and the team who is working on that did not believe in you as a leader of this opportunity, then you are not a successful bid manager. Building the content. I have summarized that on 4 aspects. However, if you will go, it will be like multiple lines. I will not focus on the black written things. We will focus on strategizing, planning the activities during the proposal, writing during the proposal development phase, craft the story of the proposal, make it appear as a story, and then publish it, which means you need to review. In order to publish something, you need to review and review and review and review in order to become a publication for you. There are multiple other steps that Build and Connect will cover, but what I really focus on is this. While you are building your proposal, you need to understand your proposition. You need to understand where you stand, right? So in very short manner, there is customer needs. You have competitors and you have your own capabilities, right? If the customer doesn't need it, then you don't need to you don't need to consider it, right? And this is where the no appears. If the customer needs it and the competitor have it and you don't have it, you shouldn't focus on that. Actually, you need, we use the term ghost it. You need to ghost it, which means, I would say undermine, but you need to lower the importance of that specific feature or capability and focus more on what is on your sweet spot. And your sweet spot is what the customer needs, what you have, and what the competitor lacks. And here where you need to raise in every single paragraph, in every single part of your proposal, you need to focus on your competitive advantage. You need to focus on those competitive advantages that are linked to the hot buttons of the customer. If your competitive advantages are not linked to the hot buttons and your competitors are, then I would say no go. Go back to Shipley framework. Then some of the tips: you need to schedule, you need to start end of mind. Starting end of mind as the 7 habits of very successful people. This is what we have learned before, right? So it's always there. It's not only in a certain domain. Start end of mind means you need to know where you are heading, and then you plan your activities based on that. So in bid management as well, start end of mind, where you want to achieve, when you want to achieve it. This is the deadline of the customer, and build your activities based on that in order to reach safely to that submission date. Maximize the parallel activities and minimize sequential. So as much as you can go in parallel, go. Learn from your experience. So don't build everything from scratch. You have proposed multiple times before. You can get use of whatever you have proposed before. Choose your team and This is as project management, you need to choose the right team in order to deliver. So in bid management, you need to choose the right team in order to develop your proposal. Focus on the executive summary, and this is very important. Executive summary is always negligible by the companies that are participated. I have seen a lot of executive summary says, we are delighted to propose for you the following and such and such. The customer is not here to be delighted or for you to be delighted. The customer here is to listen during the executive summary. And who reads the executive summary? It's the executives of the customer. He wants to read on that specific paper, 1 or 2 pages, how you are solving his problem, how you are addressing his hot buttons, what's your competitive advantages that are linked to his main pains. And he's not there to listen or to read about your previous experience in one of the mega projects that you have developed, and it has nothing to do with him. He wants you to talk about him. So it's this is the selling point. If you focus on the executive summary, I'm not saying don't focus on the proposal, but you need to give the right attention to the executive summary as well. You need to answer the customer questions. So if the customer is going in a certain sequence on the RFP, don't make it hard for him to evaluate you. So if he has like 4 sections, develop for him a proposal of 4 sections. Each section is responding to a certain area. Don't merge 2 sections to respond to 1 section. He will be lost because at the end, he's not evaluating only you, he's evaluating multiple proposals that he is receiving. So help him to evaluate you right. And build the experience section. Tell him in the experience what kind of proposals, of projects that you have developed that will enable you to transfer that experience that you have gained during our other engagements into his project, and focus on the value. Focusing on the value or mentioning on the value will lead us to enter into the next step, which is pricing, because pricing is about value. I think I'm late, so I will be a little bit fast. So this poll is refreshing your math. How do we calculate margins? What's the formula of that? Is it price minus cost over price? Is it price minus cost? Is it price minus cost over cost? Or it's price minus cost over 1 minus markup? It needs some time, I know. It's not straightforward as the previous one.
Now, while they are selecting, can you explain to us what is markup, please?
Sure. Can I explain it, Doctor, after it stabilizes? Because I will answer them.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Okay, so we have, I can't read the number much. It's almost, Doctor, what's the first number?
You have 17% for the price minus cost of a price, then 11%, then 34, last one is 37.
Okay, so you have chosen the sophisticated, I would say, formula, which is incorrect, because there is nothing called price minus cost over 1 minus markup. There is nothing on the finance or the pricing methodology that represent this. Maybe someone in the world will come and prove me wrong, but up to my knowledge, this does not exist. Let's take the first 3. So the right answer is the first one, to be frank, which is only 70% of you have got it. And I think all of those are coming from bid management field. Okay, so what's the difference between margin, profit, markup? All of them represent how much the company is gaining, not as a revenue, is gaining as a profit out of this of any engagement, right? Price minus cost is an absolute number. So 10 minus or 100 minus 90 equal 10. The absolute profit, the absolute value of the profit that you are gaining is $10, right? Now, markup, and this is the answer to the question of Dr. Saadi, markup is sensitive to the cost. It's the percentage that you add on top of the cost in order to reach the price. And its formula is price minus cost over cost. So it's sensitive, it's related to the cost. Let's have an example. Price minus cost over cost. Your price is 100. Your cost is 90. So 100 minus 90 equals 10. over 90, it's almost 0.9%, right? So your markup, the markup that you need to add on top of the $90 in order to reach to the $100 is 0.9%. Now, the margin is sensitive to the price. The same example, 100 minus 90 equals 10 over 100. Over 10 over 100, it's 1%. So your margin of the same value of $10 is represented as 1% margin or 0.9% or 1.1% of markup. If I have a paper, it will be more illustrative, but just apply the numbers and you will see the difference between markup and margins, but both of them are referring to the same profit, which is price minus cost. In order to price, you need to know your baseline, and this is forming for you what we call the initial cost. So the initial cost is the baseline, discounting from it whatever discounts that you can apply. Then you add on top of the initial cost your overheads. You add on top of that your risk premium. And overheads means a lot. It's shipping, it's taxation, it's a kind of it's a company overhead that you need to add on top of your initial cost in order to reach to what we call final cost. Now, this final cost, depending on the philosophy of each company, either it is marked up or it is margined. In other words, a profit is added on top of the cost in order to reach to the selling price. And each bid manager needs to follow those steps in order for him to price his project in the right manner. Otherwise, he will be either under pricing or overpricing if he didn't follow a certain steps and illustrating how he is pricing his proposal. I have also brought to you some examples to illustrate the difference between cost and price. So the first, the one on the middle is showing that the profit, definitely, and this goes without saying, it is the difference between the price and the cost. Now, I have given two examples here. One of them is the time and material, and the other one is related to the fixed pricing contracts. So in the time and material, normally the price is known and the minimum price is known and the minimum cost is known depending on the time and material that you are selling to the customer, and the profit is really fixed. Now, if the potential costs have increased, definitely the potential price will increase according to that, and again your profit is still fixed. So there is no much of improvement or enhancement of your profit margins when you are engaging with the customer on such type of deals. However, if you go into the fixed price method or model, normally your forecasted price on a certain edge. And based on that, you have a certain price that you will submit to the customer, and you have what we call a forecasted profit. Now, after the award, you still have the chance to increase your profit. How? By optimizing your cost to the minimum possible cost, by sharing some activities with other projects, by lowering the cost of third parties as much as possible, by transferring some of the activities to be done in-house rather than outsourcing it to third parties, right? All of these together could help you to minimize the cost, to push the cost down, and this difference, because your price is fixed, this difference will be considered for you as an additional profit. On the other side, if you didn't manage the project on the right manner and you allow for the cost to inflate, this means that your potential cost will increase and your actual cost, you will end up with an actual cost sometimes that exceeds your fixed price to the customer, and this will reach into a loss. So it's very important when you are on the fixed price mode with the customer to make sure that you are on a potential cost that has been calculated carefully with a chance of optimization in order to increase the profit margin for you. And if you allow it to increase, the cost, then you are allowing for a loss. Not only to lose part of your profit, you may lose even totally, not only the profit, you will lose the whole deal. Some tips that you need to take while you are developing the prices: focus on the value. At the moment that you see that your sales is only targeting the price, they want to cut the price regardless of the value, just call the opportunity to have no go. Doctor, I know you want to remind me with the time. Type. In order to finalize and submit your proposal, very, very high-level tips, you need to make those documents eye-catching. It needs to have some graphics. It needs to focus on customer first. You need to mention the customer name on the proposal more than your names. If the proposal contains your name more than the customer name, please reconsider it, because the customer wants to read about him, not about you. And please allow for multiple reviews, even fresh eyes. I know this is like a very, very hectic, and it comes on the last moment, but as much as possible, you can verify whatever you have written by a third party or a fresh eye. That will help you. And also plan for the worst. Plan for the worst. Have multiple versions of the offer. Have something on the cloud. Have something on USB. Have something on CD. I don't know, but you need to plan for the worst, because the last moments on submission is really a nightmare. And ask any bid manager about that. If the customer asks you to clarify and negotiate, get use of the situation, prepare a well-done defense presentation, and focus on the value. Don't go and repeat whatever you have mentioned on the RFP or on the proposal, because the customer have already read your proposal. Now he wants to know the value. He wants to understand what's your key differentiator. He wants to understand how you are solving his problem, not by what you have written on the proposal, but by illustrating the value that you are bringing to him, the benefit. You focus on the benefit that you are bringing to the customer. Negotiate. Prepare yourself with a wake away point. So if the customer asks for something that you cannot achieve, just walk away. Say no before you sign. And prepare for what we call trade-off strategy. So it's a negotiation. Something can be added instead of another thing, or a certain value can be added instead of a certain value. So you need to have yourself ready for that. Document the lessons learned and always archive. If you are successful on the negotiation, you are awarded. Now you need to hand over. You need to transfer that opportunity from being with the bid management into the execution team. And for that, you need to prepare for the handover from the proposal phase. So don't wait until the proposal is submitted and start to gather all of the documents. Have always a clean version of whatever you have submitted in a certain repository, so it will be easier for you to hand over. Prepare for a checklist and make sure that you are following that. Guide, clarify, and provide evidence, definitely, while you are transferring the documents. And the most important thing, transfer knowledge, not only documents. So don't go and give them a zip file that contains like 100 folders in it and say, I'm handing over this project for you. No, this is not a handover. You need to transfer the knowledge, what you have experienced during the bidding life cycle, so the execution team can start from a certain point. They will not start from scratch. And always document lessons learned, because you will use it in the future. This is I would say a summary of whatever we have discussed and more from what we call bid, win, deliver. This is a framework developed by James Noel Smith that consider all of this. It's a very interesting site. If you are interested about the topic, you can visit and get more insights about it. Now, let's link that to project management. And this will be the last domain that we are discussing here. In principle, bid management and project management are share the same life cycle, I would say. Okay, the blue steps are representing project management, where it starts as a startup, initiation, deliver, final stage, and project and post project. And the bid management is more of assessing, pursuing, or capturing developing the proposal, negotiate, and hand over to the delivery team, who will do everything. So if we try to map those steps together, we can come up with, I would say, a framework that could help us to optimize more. Let's engage you again. So in your opinion, do you think that bid management activities have a direct impact on the project initiation phase, not on the project execution lifecycle, on the project initiation phase? And if yes, which one is the most important factor? Great. So almost 80%, 85% are actually 90% are with yes, with different key factors that are impacting. Only 8% that they don't think that the bid management has a direct relation with the project initiation phase. Until now, this has not been proved, so I'm working on that. This is part of my doctorate that I'm preparing. But what I'm trying to achieve here is to know which is the most important factors that are impacting the initiation phase. And for that, I will illustrate some of the literature that I have went through during my doctorate journey. And I found out that during the project initiation phase, normally it goes through 6 main steps. Okay, developing a business case, understanding or undertaking the feasibility study, establishing the project charter during the project initiation, appointing the team, setting up the project management office or the project office, and then performing a phase review. This is according to a project management guidebook. I have found that on the literature. I tried to map that to the bid management lifecycle, and I found that the 4 steps of those are really linked to the initiation phase. And how is that? While developing a business case, so we understand the commercial strategy and we link it to our capabilities. While undertaking the feasibility study, we understand what the client needs, and also we link that or check that with our capabilities and offering. When we establish a charter, definitely the charter includes the scope, objectives, and the stakeholders, and those are known at least on a high level during or in our proposal that we are submitting to the customer. And finally, we may refer to the team that will undertake the execution during during the project management lifecycle. So we may mention not precisely the names of people who will do the project management activities, but at least we can define the positions of that. So those are the different, I would say, checkpoints that I have mapped both bid management lifecycle with the initiation phase of the project management lifecycle. Also, I have linked it from the decision factors. So on the left side, you see what are the criteria of selection from the PPO, from the project-based organization. And on the right, what are the selection criteria from client perspective? And if we try to map those together, we may end up by the factors that needs to be considered by both the procurement life cycle on the client side and the bidding life cycle on the PPO side, in order to match them where we can translate or transfer that opportunity from being a proposal or a bid into a project. All of these are under study and under development. This slide, I tried to map the activities between bid manager, the main activities of bid manager and the main activities of a project manager. And the outcome of that both of them works according to a certain time limits and according to a certain budget and according to a certain scope that they need to achieve. And if I can say that bid manager is a special case of a project manager. So he's a project manager, however, with a special capabilities or a special focus, rather than focus on the deliverables to the customer. He focus on crafting the content of the proposal to the customer. We are reaching to the end, and I really appreciate your honest feedback regarding what you have heard on the last hour. So if you think that it is really an interesting field, please check or choose one. If you are okay and knowledge has been gained, please press 2. And if you are not interested in bid management at all, I will accept that. Don't worry. Please press 3. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to have such feedback from you on this short period, and hopefully we can engage more to get more deeper into the bid management lifecycle and the activities that undertaken. I will end up by like 2-3 slides that will be very fast. If you are interested more to know about bid management, I really recommend this book, Winner Takes It or Takes All. It's for Scott Kaiser, and he have demonstrated on this 7.5 principles for a successful bidding and winning of proposals. And one of them is crafting your executive summary. Next, a message to all bid managers. I always say that you are not administrators. You are orchestrators. You are the maestro of any opportunity that you are on top of it. So don't think, I know that companies doesn't treat you well, maybe because they don't understand your value, but hopefully with all of these webinars and knowledge and the level of engagements that we are into, we can bring that function into its right position by giving it the right weight and the right dimension of any organization that is acquiring proposals and bidding for customers. Last but not least, this is a very interesting article that I have read for James Noel Smith, and I will focus here. Normally, we are too late to consider or to analyze that we have missed whatever we have proposed. So with implementing bid management practices within your organization, it will help you to it will help you to avoid those unexpected outcomes by treating your opportunity from the first place as a project and then try to end it up with a successful delivery mode. Last but not least, this is my final quote for you. Never stop learning, because life will never stop teaching us. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be your speaker today. I hope that I have transferred some of the knowledge that I have to all of you. Back to you, Dr. Saadi. Thank you.
Ahmed, thank you very much. This is more like a master class than just a webinar. Okay, lots of interesting topics. You touched me personally. Okay, we're gonna start, I think, a nice discussion. Lots of beautiful questions.
Wow.
Some of them are a little bit controversial. I'm looking forward to them. But before that, allow me quickly to invite everybody to, let me just put this on the right. Okay. Next Tuesday, October 27, 9 a.m. In the morning, there is a talk with Badr Bourshid. Badr is the PMO lead director for Aramco. He's also PMI KSA president. And he is a nominee for the PMO Leader of the Year award by PMO Global Awards. So there will be a talk. It's a beautiful talk with lots of knowledge. So I invite you. Registration is free for that. Maybe Mustafa can put the link for anybody who likes to register. Then on the same day, it happens that I think 2 hours after, I'm also a speaker with the IPMA. The IPMA is the International Project Management Association. They have the Global Best Practice Week. And on October 27, the second day, I'm going to give a case presentation about surviving the pandemic strategy. No clients, only partners. This is our advisor's story and contribution. Now, to register for this, there is a pay for the whole week or for a single day. So also Mustafa can share the link if somebody is interested. Then, of course, next week, next Wednesday, we were supposed to have our friend Ahmed Abdsalam from Tunisia, from Drina Consulting, but he has something very important on a family case. This is why we switched with Rania Khawaja. Rania is the general manager for APMC from Jordan. She's going to speak about an interesting topic for those who work in the world of infrastructure and construction engineering projects, extension of time analysis due to COVID-19. Since all the projects now are delayed, what would be the situation? And also on November 3, there is another topic that I will be speaking on, which is benefit sustainability, the story of the mighty sugarcane, also with PMO Global Awards. This is also for free, same link as before. This is the story of a program management in the agribusiness in Africa. It's a beautiful thing how we utilized program management for managing the agribusiness. And then the week after, November 4, we'll have our friend from PMI-KSA, Muhammad Hamad. Okay, he's Executive Director of Marketing, PMI-KSA Chapter, and Operation Executive at Jacob Zait, KSA. And he's going to speak about interface management, how to manage multiple contractors on Giga projects. Okay, he's one of the guys behind Sator, one of the nearly $10 billion refinery in Saudi Arabia and other Giga projects. And the week after, on November 11, I'm very happy and proud to also have a webinar by Richard Farrow. He's the CEO for the APMG International Group. APMG, they have over maybe 60 or 70 certifications in various fields. One of them is the strategy implementation professional, which we've been talking about previously with Antonio. Now, this thing, we just were invited by PMI Tunisia chapter to offer a duet, me and Antonio Nieto Rodriguez, on November 21st. It's going to be in the morning. We're going to announce the date and the link very soon. Last thing, for those interested in the strategy implementation professional, Antonio advised that he's still making the discounted offer. If you use the advisor, you're going to get extra discount for that. And that's all for tonight. Let's go for the questions.
Okay.
So, okay. Ahmed, I'd like to start with a question that came in more than one flavor. Dr. Ghaffar Imtiaz asked about it, and Ziad Al-Dana, one of our advisors. Ziad asked about governance rules limit the influence of vendors on client decisions making and specification of the product. Otherwise, serious ethic issues can arise. Whereas Dr. Imtiaz, he asked about it in a different manner. I'm just looking for his exact words. Let me check it. Yeah. Can't find it, but he asked about the same thing. Is it unethical or a conflict of interest if you are going to go to the client early enough and impose your ideas and concepts and products and services? Wouldn't that some might say it's unfair to other bidders? What do you think about this point?
To be frank, my answer, and this is my own opinion, the answer is no, as long as there is nothing binding with the customer yet. So in other words, it's more of marketing. It's like you are addressing your services and you are promoting your services to the customer by providing the features and the competitive advantages that you can add to the customer. Until now, there is no binding contract between you and your potential customer, and that will still continue to be an open tender where the customer will release an RFP and multiple participants will participate on that. So taking an advantage of promoting your services, yes, influencing the customer, but you are not influencing in an ethical way. You are influencing by proving capabilities, by providing features of your products and services. But until now, you didn't. There is nothing binding between you and the customer. So in my opinion, nothing unethical there, as long as the procurement life cycle will take its way and it will take its path. This would be my answer for that question.
And I believe some organizations, they even have in their governance some sort of request for information, which is not binding. Okay, they want to send us an offer about this or that. This is only for awareness, okay, for us to learn from what you have. And if they were happy, they might include some of the features, okay, in their proposal, but it is their decision. As long as there is no commercial relationship, this is the thing which is unethical. To have a commercial relationship between the vendor to be, okay, between the seller and the buyer under the table, okay, this is bribery, this is illegal, this is unethical. We will not go for that. Yes, but the whole concept of capture management is built upon building a relationship with the client, building the trust, okay, so that you are an authority, you are a source of a good provider of quality, of excellence, that they would love to get engaged with you. Then they follow the rules. And if you can play the game, as you said, well, then you will have the chance to win.
You increase your chance to win. True.
Exactly. Type. Let's go to another question. Lots of interesting questions. I'm gonna go to the start. Okay. Now another question again by Dr. Ghaffar Imtiaz. Previously, bidding lifecycle and project lifecycle are not integrated. And actually, this is a question I'd love to answer because I did a research on integrating the business, I call it the business development lifecycle and project management lifecycle. And I found they are silos. Both operate in a different world. I don't speak to each other properly. And then the end of my research, I proposed something called the Integrated Lifecycle Management Framework. Okay, that was it. But there is, I just opened the topic, but the topic is huge. And now I believe Ahmed is on the verge of uncovering even furthermore details, especially dipping in the early initiation phases. What I also discovered, and Ahmed was talking about it, is that a proposal manager is just a project manager. You've seen the parallelism between the life cycle of a project and the life cycle of building a proposal. The end result of a proposal would be either to get awarded or to archive. In both cases, you might have lessons learned, but a proposal is a project manager. He has team, he has resources. There's the charter, the decision go not to go. This is like a charter with respect to project management. There is planning, the schedule, the stakeholder management engagement, very important. Okay, in order to be near the client, as the Agile Manifesto stress a lot, and so on. So the resemblance between both, I even discovered that one of the best proposal managers are project managers, okay, because they have lived this type of cycle. What do you think, Ahmed?
Can't argue much. Actually, I always say that in order to become a bid manager or a proposal manager, you need to come from a certain background. And it's not limited only to project management per se. However, most of the successful bid managers used to be project managers. This is something that I have found during my working experience. Moreover, back to the topic, yeah, there is a lot of commonalities, I would say, between the two phases. However, there is a certain skill set, there is a certain mindset, there is a certain, I would say, commercial side that a bid manager needs to gain in order to help him to propose or to develop a winning proposal. I will re-emphasize on winning proposal because, and don't take me for that, a project manager may be able to develop a proposal, but he will not be able to develop a winning proposal because it have a lot of, I would say, insights and certain dimensions that needs to be considered during the opportunity life cycle.
Now a question from Maz Gharbi. He is asking, do you agree that the customer should engage an expert supplier during pre-award to help write the proposal, minimize the risk, and guide the client? I believe Shipley offer these types of services. They are outsourcing for proposal management.
True, multiple agencies are providing that service. However, my answer would be it depends on two things. First, the opportunity or the project size. Not all projects would really require a certain action. The second, the maturity of the organization itself. So, if you can build that capability from within, then you don't need to outsource it. However, there is no harm of getting insights, getting some I would say foundation from an outsourced agency, not only to bid to that specific opportunity, however, to get the knowledge, to put the foundation, to help you to build up that kind of governance and framework in order for you to enable you to go and proceed with such activities in the future. So if this is kind of your strategy, if this is kind of your vision to be engaged with customers in small, medium, or large opportunities, and you didn't start yet with that foundation, yeah, it is recommended to get use of a consulting firm that will help you on that, and not only building it on paper. I will be very clear here. I could bring any consultant to help me on building it on paper, and it's not executable. So it needs to be functional. It needs to be working in order for me to accept it and start to apply it within my organization.
Very good. على فكرة يعني lots of coming questions, okay, but I'm very interesting. One beautiful question from Ferdinand Furia. In today's world where the network plays a key role in winning tenders, there is a myth that you need to be able to do lobbying before even preparing your bidding. Otherwise, don't waste time preparing for your bidding. How true is this myth? I know this is much proclaimed to most of unethical staff entrusted with procurement decisions. Now, before you answer, I have a contribution of research that I've seen. One person made a comparison between stakeholder management and contract management in the West versus the East. And the findings are interesting. They found that in the West, contract management comes, you win the contract, then you build stakeholder relationship with the ones whom you won. Whereas for you to be invited in the first place to bid, stakeholder management comes before you are invited to bid and to win, and hence to sign a contract. This is more or like a cultural thing. Many organizations do not just open the door for those whom they do not know. They do have a qualification procedure, but the qualification procedure can be elaborated through some sort of personal, professional relationship. I'm not talking about, again, we are totally against the things which are unethical or illegal, okay? Because these are against our code of conduct in all the organizations we are with, and against our what we believe in. So what do you think about this?
I totally agree with you, Doctor. So I believe that business development or even the sales life cycle is based on trust, and trust doesn't come from documents. Trust doesn't come from websites. Trust doesn't come even from I don't know, phone call. So you need to build that kind of relation with the customer, and again, what I would like to emphasize on. We are not talking about something illegal. We are not talking about something unethical. We are not talking about paying under the table. We are talking about a business relation that shows the value, the benefit, the contribution of that specific seller to the pain, to the demand, to the requirements that the customer is looking for or is lacking. Without this kind of activities, building relation, visiting the customer, doing presentations, yes, influencing the requirements, because at the end the customer needs to know what he wants to implement. Otherwise it will be like he's shooting in the dark and he doesn't know what to select, right? So all of these activities for me, it doesn't conflict or contradict with any ethical behavior. Trust is the main, I would say, word that built the relation between supplier and the contractor. Talking about cultures, definitely at the end, the buying cycle is more has some emotional attributes, right? And this emotions comes because there are decision makers behind the decision, and those decision makers normally are human, right? Otherwise, bidding life cycle, procurement life cycle should all run on machines, but you need to take into consideration the different level of mistakes that this machine can take if it took the wrong decision based on the information that is filled without emotions. So emotional aspect is very important in the procurement life cycle as well as on the selling life cycle because they are linked.
Okay. Now, a question by Munir Judi. Always the deadline given by customers to bidders to submit a bid proposal are always a challenge in terms of short in time. Any thoughts to be effective qualify under this challenge?
Well, this normally, I think it happens for one of two reasons. Either that the customer is lazy and he has a certain time limit, but he delayed the publication of the RFP, and he transfers the pressure that his management is putting on him to the supplier, or he already knows who needs to win. So he give a very short timeline for people to participate. I know that this is unethical again, but this normally happens. So as a solution, unfortunately, there is no solution. But I think the solution would be is to educate the customer by saying, no, I will not participate because I don't have enough time to develop for you the right proposal. If he receives that more than once, then he will respect that his suppliers need to take as much as he took in order to develop the RFP in order to respond to his requirements. This is an insight.
Very interesting. I remember the story. We worked with a company, sort of almost partnership for over 10 years. And when the market became down, they started to bid for every single project. You said something on the move. Okay, I think
bid everything that moves.
Everything that moves. Okay, so any bid that is released by anyone, they go and bid for it. And because we work with them, they asked us to bid on everything. Then I found myself and my team working day and night for going nowhere. There's no strategy, there's no objective, there's no criteria. Okay. Of how to select. You said something very important about identifying what you call the juicy spot or something, sweet spot.
Sweet spot.
Okay,
this is your sweet spot.
Sweet. If I don't have a sweet spot, why should I bid? Okay, nobody can take all the jobs in the world. You should be smart enough to select the jobs where you can excel. This is how you can grow. This is, you can build a good reference. So they started to ask us to bid with them on every single project. And I said, no, we are much smaller than you. You are in the tens of thousands of people. We are much less than that. We cannot afford to do that. We have to be selective. And they asked me, what's your selection criteria? And I told them it's 3 simple points. Number 1, there is trust or a champion there. And champion is an ethical champion. A champion is somebody whom you know, who knows your capability and knows that you can help them in solving their problem or achieving their strategy. It's always either for a strategy to be realized or for an issue or a problem to be resolved. So you need to have somebody who understands the value you can bring inside to sell it inside. And number 2, they should have a budget. Because many organizations, they want to solve problems, but they don't have budget, or the person asking does not have enough authority or decision-making criteria to access the needed budget. And of course, there is of number 3, which is lots of smaller details. So when we started to implement this criteria, we found out that 10 out of 10 bids we refused to participate in. They were not very happy with us. Until after 6 months, they lost all the 10 out of 10 bids they bid for. Okay? What did I lose? I lost losing my time and effort. We were seeking something we can win with, and we did.
Actually,
One single project. We gained.
Actually, you gained.
Exactly. And you said something I love a lot. You said it several times, Ahmed. Winning a proposal that you can win in implementing. This is key. Okay? It's not just about winning. Winning by itself is easy. Okay? Knock off your price. Promise them the skies, as they say. Okay? In Arabic, I'm going to say it.
بحر طحينة.
Okay? And then they will select you. But afterwards, you will not be able to do it. Or if you do it, you're going to lose money.
Afterwards,
so you're losing.
It's too late.
After it's too late. Even if you walk away, you lose your reputation. It's all loss. Not to mention opportunity loss. Okay? Opportunity cost. So I believe the whole idea is to be smart enough. And to be smart enough, you have to do alliance with top management. And this is the function which is very vital in so many different webinars. We've been always pointing to the same point: top management, sponsorship engagement. Okay, somebody, director from above, their role, their contribution. Like 2 weeks back, Antonio spoke about his research he's doing for Harvard Business Review, and it showed how important is the role of the sponsor based on data this time. So we have to collaborate. We have to formulate a strategy together. We have to know where to select. Okay, like the right selection is more than half winning, I believe.
Very true. I just have one comment on a statement that you said. They were unhappy when you said no to 10 opportunities. One of the articles that I have read, and I forgot to say this, as a bid manager, you are not there to be loved. As a bid manager, you are there to implement whatever needs to be implemented. Everybody will hate you, sales, top management, everyone, but because you are adding value to the organization. So don't think about being loved by others.
Just like a good coach, huh?
Definitely.
Okay. Now let's take 2 more questions before we close the night. Nabil Ali is asking a straightforward question. To what extent does bidding management is differentiated from tender management?
No difference. Tender management normally refers to the customer side of the bidding life cycle. Bid management refers to the seller side of the bid management life cycle. So customer release a tender, an RFP, sellers respond with a proposal or a bid. So they are the same, but 2 different, it depends where you are looking for it, but you are looking at the same thing.
Muhammad Al-Asham is asking, how can companies protect leakage of the pricing while preparing the proposal?
By implementing governance, you need to have a very robust governance steps that are injected within your process. So I have given the process on a very high level. However, within that, there are multiple aspects of the RASKI or RASI, or who is supposed to do what and when, and what are the sequence of activities and how they are linked to each other. So we didn't have time to go through this. But in my opinion, if you implement the right governance model within the different steps that we have looked at, I wouldn't say you will eliminate it 100% because at the end there are human in there, but you need to choose the right people who have the right access to the right information.
طيب. I'm going to ask the last question, although there are lots of very interesting questions. Sorry for the rest. What type of questions should we ask the client to know their pain and allocate the needed solution?
Interesting. You are not there to know their pain. You are there to uncover their pain. There is a big difference, because if they know their pain, they will not need you. So you need to go there and try to be part of their organization. You need to understand their behavior, their functions, their normal activities. And from there, you can drive out, you can uncover a certain aspect within their process, within their function, and you spotlight on it. You uncover it, because at the end, the customer should be happy of what he is doing. He just need to fine tune or to enhance a little bit. However, you need to understand his vision. You need to understand where he is going. You need to be part of his trusted consulting firm. You are providing a free service, I understand that, but at the end, this free service will pay back. Why? Because you are uncovering for him a demand that he didn't thought about. However, it will help him to reach his vision. This is, I understand that my answer is really hypothetical, or it's a very high level. However, if you try to implement that on one or two of your potential customers, and again, I will focus not on advocates. You need to select mobilizers. Who are the mobilizers? Risk takers, visionaries, people that are willing to move, people they get rid of the comfort zone that their company is in, and they are looking forward to grow. Those kinds of people, if you have a certain access to them and discussion, during the access, you will uncover a lot of things that they will really appreciate, and they will engage with you in order to uncover them. So select the right stakeholder.
I remember a case that happened, I think 6 or 7 years back. We were required to submit a bid for a company we do not know in another country. And we took our time and we did our research about the client and their problems. We asked some questions and we started on actually engineering a solution. Of course, a high-level solution to customize based on their need. Now, with the other bidders, there was one of the big four and other international companies. We were only the only regional company. The others were all from abroad. And they gave me a call. They told me, you have something in your price we do not understand. I told them they asked about this and that. I told them, yes, this comes from adding a more risk premium. And they said, why? I told them, because I don't know you and I never worked in your country before. So I have to do it. They said, okay, we invite you to visit us. They stopped the whole decision. And I went there for 2 days. I met the people. I saw the country. I was very, very welcome. I felt relieved. They told me before I leave, can you go back and review your price and your risk premium based on what you've seen? I said, of course. I went back, I reviewed it, sent them the proposal. The next day they said, let's craft the contract to sign. And we signed the contract and we started to deploy. The first thing in our kickoff meeting, they said, do you know why we selected you? Although they were very big names. I said, why? They said, you were the only provider who actually listened to what we're talking about, asked the right questions, crafted a solution to solve, customized a solution to solve our problems. Even the big ones, they just copycatted from what they already have. Okay? So again, treat every opportunity after you decide it is the right opportunity as if it is the only thing you're going to do. Okay?
As if it's a project.
it's a project and put all your effort in it, then you have a good chance to win, maybe more than 50%.
True.
Okay.
Can't argue much.
So by this, I'm very pleased with our discussion, very pleased with the audience. One of the persons, Hashim Al-Rifai, our friend from Kuwait, attends every time. Hello, Hashim. Hope you are well. Thank you for attending. Thank you all our dear participants for attending tonight, and looking forward to seeing you next week on the 27th with the Global PMO and with the IPMA 27th, and on the 28th with us again with Rania Khawaja. Until then, stay safe. Thank you very much, Ahmed. Have a good night.
Thank you, Dr. Saadi. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.